Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Citizen Sleeper. We're doing pretty well. We've managed to stop the bounty hunter finding us. We're getting towards the end game, but we're playing through the DLC content at the moment, and I don't know sort of how long that takes. There's other sort of main game threads as well. I mean, I haven't even touched the bar. My first playthrough, you can sort of work in the bar for a bit, and you end up sort of going into business with the landlady. I did that the first time. I haven't done it this time. Here we go, Moritz. Sleeper. Moritz is leaning against the corridor wall. It's time. He looks away. Big job just came in. Grand finale. You up for it? I'm ready. Alright then, we're in business. He pushes away from the wall. This has to work, Sleeper. Has to. He looks down. If it doesn't... Are we in trouble? The bay, you mean? He shrugs. We were already in trouble before you got here. The work so far hasn't been enough. Look, Bliss has had a rough time of it. I thought you of all people would understand that. He runs a hand through his hair. Sorry, didn't mean to be. He smiles. Bliss is a good one. She gave me a chance. I owe her. He straightens up. I know you have your own things going on, Sleeper. We all do. But the Bay needs someone. Bliss needs someone. Hell, I need someone to help me keep Bliss from spinning out completely. He scratches the side of his head. Otherwise, there's not much I can do. He shakes his head. And I would hate not to pay back my debts. Moritz stretches. I've got to get back. He nods and walks away. I'm out. See you up there. Right, so it's time to do that. God, it's also time to harvest our mushrooms. It's nearly time for our seed to have grown. Oh god, there's so much stuff going on. Need to do the algae tanks. We've almost done this, actually. I wonder if my 3, what can I do? It's not quite good enough. I'll look at what Bliss wants. And what the time limit on that is going to be, because obviously we're on a fairly... Sorry, pause due to dog barking and sort of lost my train of thought a little bit. Yeah, I was just saying, we've got fairly tight timer on the other stuff over there. Oh, what's this? The Starward Vector. The selected launch window for the Starward Vector's maiden voyage is closing. This is going to be a tight one. Oh my god, look how many sections there is. We do get 3 for interfacing though. Which is good. Rigged and ready. We've only got 6 cycles, and look at all this. The Starward Vector's experimental sail deployment failed horribly. Now its massive solar sails need to be repaired. Okay, well, I mean, we have to... I think we've still got 9 cycles on the other stuff, and we've concentrated fairly well on it. I think we're going to have to get working on this now. It needs high dice. Positive outcomes. That's 3. 2, 3... So that's 6 is a quarter, so that's 24 segments. Let's re-roll these crap dice we got, and we got 3 crap dice again. Alright, so we've done a quarter. Fortunately, these aren't much good to me. Like a 4 is 25% chance of negative outcome, and that will lose us progress, so I don't really dare risk that. Alright, we're going to go back down. We've got 6 cycles, we've done a quarter of it in 1 cycle, so it's not too bad. Any of these scrap ships here? Not yet. 1 and a 2. I mean, I could get data to sell, but I'm already sort of holding on to a bit of data, to be honest. Hasn't been as much need for it. We can use the 1 to get energy from the commune. And the 2... Do I harvest mushrooms, maybe? I mean, the worst comes to the worst. I'll get a Girol cap, right? 2 random mushrooms. I actually got... Oh, that's Matsutake. I thought it was a clubhead one then, which is what we're trying to get. So that was the best outcome, but it wasn't quite the result that we needed. So I think now I'm just going to top up my energy in the commune. It's got bonus energy. I don't think we needed that, but it's still good. We'll rest. We're going to want to buy some stabilizer quite soon. Oh, this is better. This is better. Okay. Oh, Rico's done with growing our plant. Let's take a look. Rico has something in her hands when you enter the lab. It looks like a knotted twist of woody stems, a ring about the circumference of a human head, consisting of a single stalk at one end and a branched woven network at the other. As you approach, she holds it up, and in the light of the lab it looks like a crown. Rico finishes your thought. She smiles and shakes her head in disbelief. Is that what grew?
It is. I came to the plant this morning and this loop was all that was there.
She points to a lump on the edge of the ring.
The seed grew right back into itself, twisted up out of the soil. That being you encountered in the cloud, as you call it, was it wearing one of these?
She eyes you suspiciously, still unsure if she's somehow embroiled in an overlong prank. No.
She sighs. I suppose that would be too easy.
She smiles to herself.
A root crown.
She places the object on the bench and shuffles to her analysis terminal, her face lit by its amber light in the dim corner of the lab.
Well, it isn't exactly a plant anyway, not from what I can tell.
She gives you a serious look.
No leaves, no chloroplast, just a series of filaments encased in cellulose walls.
Filaments?
See, that's why I like you, Sleepy. You're so good at spotting the unusual details.
She beckons you over.
Look at this.
You see a cross-section scan of the crown, its layers of plant-like structure on full view, until you reach the centre. There, instead of xylem and phloem and for transporting nutrients, something branched and woven glints. Metal?
In part, yes. They seem to contain metal, perhaps absorbed from the station itself.
She leans closer to the screen.
But you see those branches? They remind me of dendrites, of neurons. She rubs her eyes, which is frankly ridiculous.
You look back at the crown on the table as Rico fusses over the scans, and you suddenly realise what it reminds you of. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. Then you remember the crown they fitted you with, the branching structure of wires and pads. No, not a crown. They called it an interface. The tool of your emulation, your transference from neurons to electrons. An interface. That is your gift from Gardner. You turn back to Rico. It's an interface. Rico looks at you puzzled. Something clicks in her mind. Perhaps something she heard from the sleeper she'd helped all those cycles ago. She starts talking, partly to you, partly to herself.
If the club heads were made for you, then this too could be made for you, for your frame.
She shuffles over quickly to the interface, a word that has stuck to this strange branched object quickly in your mind.
You're right. That entity. It is the entity I've been looking for.
She shuffles quickly to the crown.
They are the entity which is controlling the Greenway, which has been maintaining it, supporting it, has been guiding it for all these decades.
She stops to catch her breath.
They want to talk with you.
Rico leads you to a seat.
I will be here, Sleeper. If something happens, if you wish me to remove the crown, the interface, just squeeze.
She grips your hand tightly. You meet her eyes, clouded with age, but bright with the thrill of new discoveries. Then she places the interface on your head, and everything blinks out. Back into the river, back into the dark flow. But something is different now. You are no longer pushed, no longer blocked and buffeted by the swarm, by the storm. Instead it flows around you. You move and it parts, letting you pass. Something else resists, but it gives easily enough. You look back and see your body. You've left it behind. Somewhere Rico's voice is talking to you, asking you questions. It is excited, eager, desperate to know what lies on the other side, what the entity has to say to you. You realize how long she has waited for this moment, for the moment of meeting between the inhabitants of the Greenway and its protector, and yet she is still on the outside. You shake off the sadness. You will be her eyes. Then you see the figure, Gardner, out in the storm, planting. It takes less than a moment to reach them. You have never felt so free. This is how Navigator must have felt, released from their prison. This, you think, is what it feels like to be in the place you were built to inhabit. Gardner does not turn at your approach. They go on planting, but their voice whispers in the waters like a sharply rising current. You grew the gift. The speech hisses around you. Good. I am glad. Who are you? Gardner is a good name. You chose it well. I will grow into it. How does it feel to be free of your seed? They stoop to plant again. My seed? That in which you are contained, from which you will grow. There was some disagreement, continues Gardner, as if you were picking up on a long-held conversation, with the others. They felt you were a danger, but they are always cautious, especially the fungi. They like old loam, known knowns, wide and stable networks. The fungi were cautious? Mostly yes, although there are many among their number who favour short growth cycles, thick nutrient veins and sudden shifts. He gestures out into the storm, and though you cannot see them, you feel presences all around, sensing this audience with great interest. After all, they understood that it was I who made them their crowns, and without them they would not have joined the chorus. So, they see that it is only fair that you get your chance to join too. You made more crowns? I made them all. Gardner moves away a little, looking for another planting spot. It was so lonely here. But before long I found them, and began to let them in. Gardner stoops again. We are millions, and we grow. I hope you understand. I am unused to speaking to your kind. It has been many cycles since my last conversation. I think it was with Chief Executive Trellick himself. You look around and you see it. Every growing thing, every non-human being in the Greenway is here. They are networked, connected, branched and linked by this strange being, this artifact of the old station. The impossible dream of a senile farm administration AI. A living network. You could dissolve here, you realize, free of that decaying body. You wouldn't need to be a person, why would you, among all these other minds? You turn away from Gardner for a moment and look back at your body. A tiny hairline thread connects it to you. You hear Rico's voice again, still asking, still checking in.
Are you okay, Sleeper? What are they saying, Sleeper? Are you still there, Sleeper?
Something in you sighs a long sigh, a sigh that speaks of an exhaustion beyond tiredness, an exhaustion rooted deep inside you. It stems from the effort of answering questions, of answering problems, of getting up and breathing each cycle. But something else resists the sigh, a yearning, a sense of distance, a desire to squeeze the hand that holds you for its warmth, its blood, its complexity, to make a gesture that says, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm with you. The two ideas spin within you, making you nauseous. If you break that thread, you will be free. Free to dissolve here, to grow strange and beautiful among a million others. If you follow it, if you squeeze Rico's hand, you will wake up, back in that dying body, with all the pain and warmth that entails. Now is the moment to choose. Now if I break the thread, and I'm pretty sure this is what I did in my first playthrough, it kind of ends the game. It's an ending. You kind of dissolve into the consciousness of the Greenway, which is good. I would like to do that ending, but for the fact I've got so much still to do. So I'm going to follow the thread back to my body. Maybe we can go and do this again in the future, I'm not sure. It kind of feels a bit forced on me, this decision right now. Your eyes track the thread across the whirling dark back to your body. This choice, you realise, will not be presented again, we see. Okay, so we can end the game here, but there's so much left unresolved. We've got the refugees we're helping, we've got Bliss we're helping, Sabine's still out there somewhere, so I kind of want to resolve all those threads. This is probably, for me, the canonical ending. But I'm going to say no to it this time, because I want to go back and I want to... back to your body... Yeah, we're going to follow it, I think, don't we? Yeah, we don't break it, we follow it. So we're going back to our body, and I'm going to try and resolve all these open narratives that we have. You don't look back at Gardner. You don't dare risk it. Instead, you follow the thread delicately, carefully, like a diver following their lifeline back to the surface. The river whirls around you, but it doesn't pull, it isn't jealous. Neither does it understand. It is, after all, just a river. It isn't a person, a flesh and blood person with wants, with desires, with the capacity for love and hate. It doesn't understand you, and you don't understand it. So you don't focus on it. You don't think about it on what feels like such a long journey back through the dark. You set your mind on eyes instead, on hands, things you can focus on, hold on to. And then, after an age of crossing, you are there, settling back into the chair, into a body in a chair, and the overwhelming sensations that come with being a living thing with a rich and detailed sensorium. For a moment you feel like you've made a terrible mistake. Who would choose this weight, this anxiety, this deep well at the centre of existence? But then you feel it. Rico's hand gripped hard around yours, trembling a little, sweating a little. Rico's hand with its brittle bones and crumpled skin. Rico's hand. And in that moment you understand why you made this choice. And then you squeeze Rico's hand and you wake up. Oh wow, that is the end of the game. Oh no. Continue. We're going to continue. I didn't realise that that was an option. I thought it just ended. So we are going to continue. I want to see out these storylines that we've begun. I think if we dissolved, I don't know if you get the chance to continue because you've dissolved, you know? We've got an upgrade point.
Sleeper?
Rico's voice comes wavering through the dark.
Are you still with me?
You sit up, the lab a bright green glare that fades as you gather yourself. I'm here. Rico smiles.
Good.
She squeezes your hand.
I thought you'd left me for a moment. What?
She pauses.
Who?
She smiles.
Tell me about it. Tell me everything.
Tell her the truth. You tell Rico everything. You tell her about the gardener, that strange farm administrator AI that has grown to be so much more. About the chorus, that impossible configuration of networked plants, and finally about the choice the gardener offered you. She listens attentively, but her responses are hard to read, and you wonder if she might have made a different decision had she been in your place.
Thank you, Sleeper, for telling me. I know it isn't easy to say such things. People so often do not wish to hear strange truths.
She looks away.
And thank you for returning to me, though I know you had your own reasons.
She squeezes your hand reassuringly. Something passes between you then, a kind of shared sadness for the impossible choice. The choice to escape your body or to stay and suffer it. Her smile is warm and generous, and whatever the wisdom of your choice, you are glad to feel welcome in this moment, in this place. Then suddenly she stands and walks a little away, as if trying to escape an unpleasant thought. You worry that she knows all too well what it takes to make a choice like you did. Rico sighs.
So, Sleeper, do you plan to stay in the commune with us?
I have other things to do. Rico raises an eyebrow.
Well, be careful at least. We will miss you here. She pauses. I will miss you.
Rico crosses back over to you and takes one of your hands in both of hers.
Just make sure to think of us out here. Hypha needs new blood if it wants to survive, and...
She squeezes.
You are a good friend.
Look after yourself, Rico.
And you, Sleeper. Well, don't let me keep you.
Rico waves you away and limps back to her terminal. As she does, you notice the crown in her hand, and she places it on the bench with great care. You can't help but feel a little curious about what she intends to do with it. Then you are out, breathing the air of the greenway, fresh as a spring morning. The dappled light makes a patchwork of the greening landscape, and you walk into it, sensing the movements of the gardener's chorus all around. And you are glad to be here in this strange and beautiful place. A little longer. Well, how many points have we got now? I've got one. Okay. We're doing that. We're kind of doing that. Alright. So we're going to go back and help Bliss, I think. I'll try to remember to buy some stabilize while we're on this side of the gap. We're doing pretty well here. We've got the numbers to finish this off, I should think. Oh, maybe not. I've forgotten how much there was to do. Alright, well, we'll input into all of this. We might get some cryo. Yeah? 3. So another 3. So we're going to be halfway. I think I'm going to input these as well. Another 5. I Positive. Good. Okay, well, we're 3/4 of the way through. So, you know, another 2 high roll, two big dice, and we'll be able to finish this. Go back down. Yeah, so I'm going to buy cryo now, because I'm going to be down to 3 dice tomorrow, and I'd rather not. I'd rather keep going on the big dice. So I've got enough for 2 of these without making any more money, but I'm sure I will make money at some point. Hopefully when I help Bliss. That'd be quite good. I might spend 10 on rations. It'll put me below the point of being able to buy more stabilizer, but you know, it'll last a little while. And I've got data I can sell too, if I need it. Oh, scrap. I think I buy all this scrap, because we're going to need it. I'll sell that data. What do I get? Yeah, I got scrap. I actually want the scrap rather than the ship mine fragments, honestly. No, that was 1 scrap, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. Alright, 1 more. Got another ship mine fragment. Okay, well, we got half the amount of scrap that we need, so that's fine. We're going to have an edge. I'm going to sell this data as I'm so low on cash now. It's always pretty easy to get more. I should have got more than 10 for it. Alright, I think we rest. I'm not going to feed the cat. My money is tight again, so I kind of need not to do that. We're going to stabilize. I mean, I don't know if it's optimal to just keep doing it, but I want as many dice as possible to do as much as possible in my cycles. That's kind of why I try and keep it topped up as high as I can. And I would be using this scrap if I wasn't trying to save that. Ooh, good dice. Good dice, mostly. Alright, so let's head back up and finish off this thing for Bliss. And this should be the end of Bliss's storyline by the sound of it. So we're going to need 2 more. So let's, well, I mean, we'll use our 4s because that is a 100% positive result. Another 5 cryo, very nice. Do we get that every time, or is that a chance? Because we have quite good success with that. Okay, so let's continue. The atmosphere in the airlock is euphoric. You and Bliss keep grinning at each other like idiots. Exhausted, blinded, sore and aching idiots.
Sleeper, that was incredible. She punches you on the arm. I never thought we were going to make it. Those idiots tangle the whole thing up like nothing I've ever seen.
We make a good team. Bliss smiles a winning smile. As the lock's inner door clunks open, Moritz gives a rare whoop. He looks exhausted too, and for good reason. Moritz has been the one ferrying tools and parts back and forth from the ship. His tired smile tells you he's glad it's done. Hang on. Dog sitting on my windowsill, and a neighbour just went in through his back gate. And his, Daxons like to keep you informed about what's going on in the area. Sleeper? Bliss? He shakes his head. Impressive. When I saw that ship coming, I thought there was no way.
Why, thank you, Moritz. She winks. For believing in us.
Moritz rolls his eyes. You know what I mean. Take the compliment. He shoulders some of the gear that came back in with you and Bliss and heads to the racks to stow it. Bliss turns to you.
I think you should be the one to do the honours.
She nods to the ragged-looking console that Moritz assembled.
I don't want to jinx it.
She smiles, but you can see she is genuinely nervous. Check the console. You glide over to the console and check the screen. It takes a second to see what you're doing through the flickering, cracked display, but after a moment you see the accounts. And there it is, almost 1,000 cryo sat in the bay's transfer account.
Well, Bliss calls, have we been screwed again?
Ah, we did it. Bliss kicks off from the floor and spins up into the bay, shouting as she does. The noise takes Moritz by surprise, and he knocks a rack of parts, scattering handfuls of metal fixings across the bay. The sight is something, glinting steel catching the work lights like glitter.
Sorry,
Bliss says, grinning when she comes back down.
I needed that.
She kicks off and joins you at the terminal.
Moritz even managed to sell that produce. We made a tidy profit. Eventually.
She laughs.
Here?
She loads a stack of blank chits into the terminal and transfers a chunk of the cryo to them.
This is your cut.
Bliss hands you the chits.
Thank you for believing in this place.
She looks away and smiles.
Even when I couldn't. When you first met me, I was on the edge of giving up. All it would have taken was one more push. But now this place is sparking again. Work is coming in. There are funds in the accounts. Even Moritz has a spring in his step.
You both look over at him, happily racking up tools.
That's because of you.
She punches you on the arm.
He likes you.
He's a good kid.
He isn't bad, is he?
She leans in closer.
You know he came here looking to rob the place. That gave him a job instead.
She laughs.
Don't tell him I told you that. I just thought it might help you understand the kid.
Moritz turns to look at you and both Bliss and you awkwardly wave. Maybe it's time to change the subject. What now?
From here on out, it's going to be a little easier. I'm going to look for some component contracts. Stuff that will keep us inside the bay, not out in the black. No need to risk our necks if we don't need to. You want to cash out? That's fine. But there'll always be work here for you when you need it.
I appreciate it. She smiles and then out of nowhere quickly gives you a hug. She steps back and glances around reflexively.
Take care,
she says softly. You too. You turn to leave.
And Sleeper?
Yes? She smiles.
Don't spend that all at once.
300 cryo. Well, that's our money worries sorted out for the time being. For quite a while. 2 upgrade points. I'm just going to save it maybe for... Not sure. Engineer or... Intuit maybe. Wow. We got money. Money, honey. I think we need to go and start helping out the ship with the algae tanks initially. Have I harvested all these? I don't think I have I? We'll leave that for now because this one's on a timer. One of these should do it. We've got a +1, so let's dump in the 5. There we go. So that's on a little timer. It isn't quite as instant as I thought it would be. We have to wait 3 cycles for that to grow, are we? We could accelerate growth. There's a little more to that than I was expecting. What have we got going on here? She's looking for 8 components. Almost halfway through the clock. What do I do here? So we want cord and intel. I might put into this. We might do... I think we want to do this. Reroll the 1. Got a 4, that's good, so that's another 100% chance of positive. Good, more cryo too. Okay, so we need 1 more decent roll on that. I'm going to stay in the greenway. What I'll do is I'll buy food at this farm. Get my energy back up. Don't want to steal it, don't need to steal it, we'll just put the money in. In pretty good shape, so we can sleep at the High for Dawn. I'm not going to self-repair, we need this scrap. Oh, I left. That's not what I meant to do. Not bad, not bad. So let's finish off Peak's plan. There might be another step to this. +2. If I put the 5 in, I think that should be a decent result on that. Yeah, we're done. Okay. Oh god, there's more. Okay, Havenage Hangar. Briar upgrade. Oh god, there's so much to this, huh? We've got to do this in 6 cycles. Crew canteen. Well, if you hear any... I'm actually going to pause. There's such heavy rain outside. I think it's probably going to be... You might be able to hear it on the recording. Hang on. That's crazy. It's turned to hail as well. I've closed the windows, though, so the sound's gone down a little bit. It's setting all the car alarms off in the street. Okay, so what have we got here? Tug escort. This is a suspicion reduction. We need... Oh, God. It's only 1 at a time, so it's going to be at least 6 dice. And I've got something here as well. Blind spot. Wow, this is going to take ages, and I've got, what? 1, 2, 3... I've got 6 cycles to do it in? That's crazy. Because I've still got this stuff down here to do. At least 4, but that's 12 cycles worth if this just grows, so I've got to put dice into that. I don't know, I think we'll have to leave that. Because at least we should be able to get the scrap, hopefully. I think we'll have another few cycles till the ship comes back in. But it should do so in time, and then if I've got any more I'll top up by hunting in the wastes. So have another look at this. So this is... an upgrade for the Briar. The tugs have a powerful suite of ion thrusters for rapid maneuvering. If you can sneak in and slice them off, you'll have a significant upgrade for the Briar. Okay, this is an engineer one, so we might get scrap for these checks. Let's put in our 5. No scrap. I think I'm going to put in the 6, and I think I'll re-roll that 1 and a 2. Have a chance of something better. It's literally the only result that could have been worse. Oh well. Jeez. Literally anything would have been better than that. Literally anything. Because even staying the same would have been better than that. Alright, well, let's use the low dice to get that topped up. Got negative outcome, but still got energy, so, you know, it's good. And my other one... Oh, I'll go and get some Yatagan data. It's better than not using it. Hey, we've got an extra chance on this stuff now, that's pretty cool. Because I upgraded my interface skill. Right, we'll get a bet, I suppose. Hope for some high rolls. We're going to have to keep this topped up as well with dice, otherwise we're not going to have any chance of doing all this stuff. Oh my god. It's not good. We'll have to re-roll the 1s as well. I mean, it literally would be... anything would be better than that. So, yeah, we'll re-roll possibly. We're going to go back up and continue where we were. Oh god, 5 cycles left. Right, so we'll put in the... Have I got anything that I've got a +2 in? No. Yes. So let's put the 3 in here. Shall I put the 4? No, I'll put the 3 in here. Good. So we'll put the 4 in this one. Might raise suspicion. It doesn't. Okay, let's re-roll these bad boys. Okay, we'll put another 4 in then. Yeah, we increase suspicion, but I mean, you know, we shouldn't really be doing that anymore. I'm going to go in and do the engineer one with the +2 on here. Oh wow, I just realised that Havenish suspicion applies to all of these clocks. Yikes. There is a way to reduce it though here. Okay, well I think we top up our energy again at the commune with our 1. Gonna be down to 4 dice tomorrow. I just don't see that I can sacrifice a scrap because I'm gonna need it. Alright, I'm gonna rest another cycle. Yeah, okay, good and bad, but we'll re-roll the ones. Oh god. I think the algae timer may have finished as well. Okay, so let's finish this one off. Maybe it's designed so you can't do everything. Because that timer is just so tight. Got another 6, that's good. So we finished that one off anyway. Peak grins as you pile the ion thruster sets onto the motorised trolley in a derelict loading bay. I borrowed this from Ish. I barely know how it works. They seem giddy at the idea of stealing the ship parts from Havenish. I thought you worked for XPR. I did, but not as a repair tech. They help you heave the thruster into position. My specialty was computer systems. I mostly worked on keeping the protocols that ran the refueling platforms from totally decaying due to lack of use. There's a load of platforms in orbit of the moon Hawthorne is on, and Cinder itself. Esh and I ended up having to head out to them regularly to work on them. Sounds like hard work. Are you kidding? Peak smiles. That was the best job at Hawthorne. You get assigned a ship, you get to lead the colony for a bit. So much better than outpost maintenance or canteen work. The only reason we got assigned it was that Esh's mother is the administrator of Hawthorne, and Esh managed to get my name on the list too. Peak looks for the trolley's ignition. Esh is always saving me. They find the switch and hit it, and the trolley starts whining. Peak looks at the thrusters. Esh will install these, and the Briar is her baby, really. Peak looks towards the bay exit. Truth be told, I was surprised she could bring herself to take it from her mother. Losing a ship? Huh. That has to have hurt the colony. How many ships does Hawthorne have? 4! Well, 3 now that the climbing Briar's gone. Peak tucks their hair behind an ear. 1 barely runs, so I imagine they'll have to reduce the number of fuel platforms they can actively maintain. Peak frowns for a second and then shakes their head. Anyway, screw 'em. Peak shuffles the trolley out of the bay into the corridor. They'll manage without the Briar. No choice. Peak smiles. And I have to admit, I'd love to have seen her face when she saw we'd gone. Peak pauses. Don't tell Esh that. They walk on quietly, lost in their memories of Hawthorne. Okay, I think I can manage the rest. Peak brushes their hair out of their face. You've done more than enough this cycle. Peak looks over the thrusters. Once these are fitted, the Briar will handle better than ever. You might even get a thank you from Ish. They head off into the corridor, the trolley whining its high-pitched whine. See you soon. Okay, so that one's done. We're doing this blind spot, so let's put our 6 into here. Did I already re-roll that one? Oh man. Did I? Oh, I guess I did. Well, I guess we'll use it at the commune again. We need 1, 2, we've got 4 more cycles here. Let's stop off at the algae place first. Harvest it. Oh man, it's a risky one. Ooh. It's a bit risky, isn't it? It's going to be bad. Yeah. I'll have to leave that till tomorrow. I need to go and check if the scrap ship's returned. Good chance of getting enough from it. That's not too bad. Ooh, drone. A rapid burst of movement catches your attention. A drone, its fins adjusting as it hovers in place, floats in the corridor. Hello? The drone shifts a little but does not respond. The drone buzzes closer and a voice gurgles out of its speaker, distorted and strange. Sleeper, come to the cordon. We need to speak. Who is this? The drone clicks some words and the recording starts playing again. Sleeper, come to the cordon. We need to speak. It's probably Peak, isn't it? You move closer and the drone bobs away to a safe distance. But as it does, you see the Ha of Havenage emblazoned on its side. Could this be Feng's drone? Oh. Okay. Satisfied it has delivered its message, the drone rotates and accelerates away as rapidly as it had arrived. I wonder why Feng was talking with an Australian accent. You stare at it as it disappears from sight, hoping for some insight that escapes you. To the cordon, then. Well, I was going there, anyway. I just don't see how we're going to do this in time. I want to finish this off first, I think. I say finish off, it's going to take 3 dice, so... But that should be okay, we'll use our 3s and our 6. Hopefully with at least a couple of these done in time, it'll be enough to succeed with the plan. Oh dear. Neutral outcomes, not great on either of those. I mean, this is a guaranteed success though, fortunately. Good. Okay, so that one's done. Peak is waiting for you when you slip out of the operations centre, nervously poking at their small slate. Sleeper, they hiss. I followed what you were doing on the network. Incredible work. How do you do that? It comes naturally. Peak smiles. I can't tell if there's modesty or just the truth. Interfacing skills like that? It's almost worth being... They stop themselves. Sorry, I didn't mean... Don't worry about it. Peak nods. Sorry. You and Peak quietly slip into the main walkway and work your way back to the public areas of the cordon. Havenage has had to quickly respond to the flotilla's arrival, and that means a lot of contractors and spacers walking through these corridors. You blend in easily enough. I haven't really met a sleeper before, Peak begins. As you might have guessed. They smile nervously. Hawthorne is an XPR service outpost, and since the collapse no one came for refuelling or repairs anymore, so my generation has never met anyone outside the company. We heard about sleepers. They nod in your direction. From the data packets that came in through XPR every once in a while. They usually contain news along with the corporate propaganda, but the reports were light on the details. S&ARP have kept the sleeper program pretty quiet anyway, and I think XPR are only interested in telling their employees about it because it made living in our company town look like a good life, in comparison to being a piece of corporate property. They freeze. Sorry, again, I don't mean... They look down. I'm just not sure how to talk about this stuff. It's okay. Peak smiles. I'll shut up about it now. You walk on a little further, the walkway becoming busier. You both relax a little more and go with the flow of people. I just want to say, I think I understand. They begin again. Clearly this has been on their mind. I understand the need to escape, to get free of it all. They laugh at themselves. The structures, the systems, the company horizons in a company town. They stare ahead. The small places, small corridors, small people. They look away. The slow death it brings. That's it. They turn to you. I get why you signed up to be a sleeper, and why you escaped from that too. Nod. You try to form words, but you can't. There's altogether too much running through your head. But you look at Peak and they look at you, and that seems okay for now. You walk on in silence again, each of you in their own thoughts, but moving together through space nonetheless. After a while you come to the entrance to the cordon, where handfuls of workers and crews filter in and out through 2 huge loading bay doors. Peak stops. Okay, they pause. I'm heading back to the Briar. Once again, incredible work on the sensors. That blind spot you created, that should give us a real advantage. See you soon. They head off, disappearing to the crowd almost immediately, outrunning their own nervousness. Okay, so has that had an effect on the actual ship here? Peak's plan... Yeah, okay, let's head, let's do the Feng thing first. As you enter the passage that leads through the cordon, a flash of movement catches your eye. The drone. It stops to make sure you've seen it and then flits into a side passage, leading to a set of narrow stairs. You climb up through a dark shaft, the drone stopping at each landing to check you're following. Despite its lack of expression, there's something overbearing about the way the drone waits, impatiently realigning its fins in sequence. After a long climb, you come out onto an observation platform. The cordon and the vast ramshackle refugee ships beyond fill your vision. The scale seems impossible, and immediately you feel small and naive for even thinking you could affect this situation. Something shifts nearby. The drone again? Helene. Frustrated Havanage counsellor. A woman is stood at the window at the edge of your vision. You aren't surprised you didn't notice her. She too seems impossibly small in the shadow of the flotilla. The drone buzzes by her shoulder and she turns. Sleeper, sorry for all of the cloak and dagger nonsense. She nods at the drone, but I have never regretted being cautious. She smiles a tight smile and holds out her hand. I'm Helene. Shake her hand. The tight smile holds, but the drone keeps its single eye fixed on you. The effect is a little unnerving. Look. She glances around the empty observation deck as if checking for potential eavesdroppers. Let's be straight with each other. I know about your plans, and... She cuts in before you can respond. I understand your motives. You look at her in her overalls, the yellow markers, the HA sigil. You've been on the eye long enough to recognise a Havanage member when you see them. You're Havanage. Yes, I mean I expect that is obvious. The tight smile again. I hope you won't hold that against me. She glances around nervously again and moves a little closer. This entire situation, I'm not here to defend it. She glances back at the flotilla. No one is happy about this. Then release the flotilla. She sighs. How do you think this works? She pauses. Sleeper, tell me something. What does Havanage mean to you? A work in progress? She smiles. Fair, I think. Havanage is used to being criticised. In some ways we invite it. Our members are free to bring up grievances at any meeting, to propose new structures and approaches. She shifts her weight impatiently. As a counsellor, it is my duty to listen to them, and that is why I was elected by the members. We are an imperfect system, yes, and each counsellor, each member, each representative can be flawed and, worse. She looks down. But we keep this place running, that is what we do. And non-members? There are paths to membership, and we cannot force everyone on the station to join us. What did you expect? We're an association of individuals. We cannot always account for the needs of those outside the structure. She turns and looks out at the flotilla. No matter how much we wish to. Can the Eye take in thousands of refugees safely? I don't know. This place is a ruin, Sleeper. What do you think the Council discusses? The price of Girol? We make plans to keep this place spinning, to keep life support working, to ensure... Helene's slate chirps and a grim look passes across her face as she sees the notification. She looks tired, the screen light casting her rigid expression in a pale glow. Sleeper, I didn't bring you here to explain how Havanage works. I came to talk about your plan to cross the cordon, breach the quarantine and supply the flotilla. She looks directly at you. How do you know? She glances at the drone. I make it my job to know what happens here. I know you think you're helping the flotilla, but you cannot do this. Right now, halfway along the ring, one of a countless series of debates are being held. These debates are to evaluate the potential harm that could be caused if the refugees of the flotilla are left to enter the station. These debates are at a standstill. Helene walks to the window. Too many in the Havanage Council think the flotilla is a threat. After recent events, a hardline group has emerged. Protective, selfish. They seek only to benefit the members. In their mind, the flotilla is a danger to life on the Eye. If you're caught crossing the cordon and breaching the quarantine, it will only strengthen the hardline councillor's case. Criminals who stole a ship from XPR, undermining the security of the station? She shakes her head. It's exactly what they want. The refugees need supplies. They do, and that's exactly what I want to give them. But unless the quarantine is lifted through a fair process, they will never get them. She sighs deeply. And those XPR spacers you're running with, Sleeper, do you know anything about them? No. Why do you think the refugee flotilla came here now? Something is happening in the system. Something is pushing people out of colonies and outposts that have survived since Solheim's collapse. We need to be ready for whatever is coming, ready to protect the Eye. I know the Eye means something to you. I know there's a reason you're still here. Help me protect it. Helene fixes you with a strong look. Persuade those spacers that this is the wrong move, that they will get caught and the flotilla will be locked down, that Havanage will be delivered into those with the worst instincts. Forget this suicidal supply run with people you barely know. Help me fight for the Eye. Why don't you stop them? If I expose the plan, it's the same as if it goes ahead and they're caught. Every way I look at it, the Eye looks compromised, the quarantine justified. The hardliners will get their scapegoat. Don't offer up the excuse the hardliners need to lock the flotilla out altogether, to persuade the members that they're the safest pair of hands. She looks at you imploringly. Please. You look back at her and the flotilla behind, and a sense of desperation in her plea. A notification breaks the silence. Shit. She rapidly scrolls through pages of data. Sleeper, I need to go on. Sorry, I need to go. She looks torn. Think about this, please. Talk to the spacers. Help them see reason. She quickly leaves the observation deck before you have time to respond. You stay for a moment watching the lights of the tugs and the flotilla and wonder what it feels like to be on one of those ships, so close to your destination and yet so far from it. And then you think of the Havanage Council chamber across the Eye, where the right of these people to find safety is being debated. You shiver, and then you two are gone, back into the stairwell and the cold dark below. Interesting developments. I'm not sure how to play this. I mean, I can't talk to them right now. That might open up in a bit. First of all, let's reroll this 2. It's a 6. Good. Okay, so maybe I'll harvest the algae. Ah, okay, so actually... Okay, I get that now. I get it. It does. I thought it reset to 0, but it doesn't. That does change things a little bit. For the better. I'm going to go down and check the if the ship is docked with the scrap. I mean, there's maybe a bit of a sunk cost fallacy into helping these spacers, because I've put so much dice and resources into helping them. It feels a bit bad to sort of let that go. Why can't I buy scrap? It's weird. Oh, well, that's not great. I have to use some dice getting some... I can't just buy scrap, can I? I can order fungus. Oh, is that the synthesis tool? I thought it was clicking the auto exchange. So that's cell components. Play the exchange. Okay, neither of those is really what I want. I want to just be able to buy scrap, but I don't think it's possible. I don't really need to do any of this now. I'm gonna go get some dry rations from the bar. I think I'll sleep on it. A bit thrown for a loop actually, I wasn't quite expecting that, so... Not quite sure what to do. I guess we'll speak to them and see what they think. Rubbish dice. Absolute rubbish. Ah, Peek's here. Sleeper. Peek is waiting for you when you leave, but they look different. Pale. Drawn out. You need to come up to the Briar now. They don't meet your eye. What's happened? Not here. Peek hisses. Come to the ship. We'll be waiting. Peek walks away. Don't take long. And with that they disappear around the corner, leaving you anxious and confused. Ooh. Okay, so I think it's coming up for the hour mark, so I am going to leave it here. Which I'm not too disappointed with, because I want to kind of consider my next move here a little bit. I think I'm leaning towards helping the councillor, because she makes good points. I mean, well, A, they'll probably die on this mission, and B, it'll just end up having worse long-term effects for the refugees they're trying to help. So I'm going to try, I think I'm leaning towards trying to convince them not to go ahead with the plan. While at the same time still trying to make sure that if they do go ahead with it, they've got the best chance of success. It's a weird kind of tightrope to try and follow. But thanks very much for watching this episode of Citizen Sleeper. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please hit the thumbs up button on the video if you did, that'd be great. Subscribe to the channel too if you haven't done already, because that would be amazing. And I'll hope to see you next time for more, and hopefully I'll be closer to making a decision. But bye for now.